You ever watch your whole world get bulldozed in the span of an afternoon? Not metaphorically, I'm talking about the real deal. Timber glass memories all ripped out by people who think a clipboard and a smile gives them the right to stomp on your life. That was my Tuesday. And let me tell you, after you've survived divorce and the kind of hollow echoing silence that sits in the walls of a too-quiet apartment, you'd think nothing could rattle you. Turns out you'd be wrong. After the split life got quiet in the worst way, like staring at the ceiling, counting cracks, trying not to remember where the picture frames used to hang. 15 years as a residential electrician, always moving, always tired. But it was a good kind of tired when you had someone to come home to. But once the arguing stopped and the sitcom stopped half playing in the background, it was just me and four blank walls, so I did what a lot of stubborn men do. I bought myself a project, found it on a county auction site that looked straight out of the 90s Silver Creek Lake. 5 acres, a weathered old cabin. They had the nerve to call uninhabitable, but structurally sound. The pictures. Let's just say the porch had seen better centuries and the roof had more moss than shingles. But the moment I stepped out on that gravel driveway, the world felt wide open again. That place leaned left. The deck looked ready to leap into the water, but it was mine. You know what I mean? The kind of mine you can taste in the air, smell in the rain and cedar, nobody to tell you what to do with it. For a second, when the sun hit that lake, even the ugly parts looked beautiful. I did it all by the book permits, structural engineers, even hired some hotshot local architect who specialized in these old lake shacks. Plan was simple gut. The inside rebuilded as a retreat. Maybe if I ever got used to being alone, move out here for good. Silver Creek wasn't part of a town. No HOA. That was the selling point. No block captains, no newsletters, just pine trees and the sound of your own breath. Now, the closest neighborhood, Lakeview Hills, was a half-mile away. All beige siding and flower beds matching mailboxes, a sign out front so glossy it could blind you. I'd driven past it plenty, never gave them a second thought, until I saw a cheap plastic ribbon strung across my dock path. Yellow and green reading Common Access Zone Lakeview Hills. I stood there with 2 sacks of cement in my hands, staring like it had called me out by name. Figured it was some eager beaver mixing up trail boundaries. I unhooked it, tossed it in the trash, kept the photo, though. If divorce teaches you anything, it's keep receipts. Next visit, ribbon was gone, nothing else out of place, so I let it go. Maybe I was just paranoid. Still couldn't shake the feeling someone was poking the bear, seeing how much they could get away with. So I kept busy, solar lights, new locks running wire in the attic. I wasn't sleeping there yet, not with the squirrels using the roof as a racetrack, but it was starting to feel like mine. One night in July, right before sunset, I caught 2 silhouettes across the lake, just standing at the tree line staring. I waved. They didn't. Then they vanished. Told myself they were hikers, but you know when you're being watched. Come September, air smelling like leaves and wood smoke, I was finally on track, permits approved, supplies delivered, construction set. Real plans. Ripping out that rotted kitchen floor was going to be my reward. But the day I turned onto the property, something was off. No birds, no wind, just the low growl of machinery. My cabin was gone. Not vandalized, not burned. Gone. In its place, a rectangle of bare, bulldozed earth. A backhoe idling dumpster half filled with splintered wood and pieces of my porch. I jumped out of my truck, heart in my throat. Hey, what the hell's going on? The worker shrugged. We're just finishing cleanup, one said. Cleanup of what? My home, my history. Then I saw her cream windbreaker, wedge sandals, sunglasses, perched like a tiara, sipping coffee at a folding table. Blueprints spread out, like she was Martha Stewart hosting a bake sale. You must be Mr. Hunt, she said, all teeth. Karen Blight, president of the Lakeview Hills Homeowners Association. I didn't care if she was the Pope. Why did you destroy my property? She gave this laugh like I was a child pitching a fit. Let's not escalate. The structure was unsafe. Our safety committee followed protocol. Your committee. This land isn't even in your HOA. Well, that's debatable, she said, flipping her tablet. Our current jurisdiction map includes your parcel recently transferred under our recreation plan. She had some report called the place derelict, a hazard. Decided to do the community a favor. She even said most HOAs would have billed me for cleanup. My hands shook. I wanted to rip that tablet out of her hands and chuck it in the lake. You're out of your damn mind. I'm calling the cops. She just sipped her coffee. That's your prerogative. So I called the sheriff right there. Karen kept barking orders at the workers like this was her personal episode of Extreme Makeover Home Wreck Edition. The deputy shows up, big guy, tired eyes. I hand him my deed, my permits, architect's emails, the whole paper trail. Karen hands over her packet, smiling like the cat that ate the canary. Deputy flips through, rubs his neck. This is complicated. No, it isn't. They bulldozed my property. Karen butts in talking about emergency action under their bylaws. I'm about ready to lose it. Your rules don't apply. I'm not your neighbor. This isn't your land. Deputy throws up his hands. I'll file a report. Let the county sort it out. As I left, I saw a sign half buried near a pine future site of Lakeview Community Park. I didn't touch it. I just listened to the last whine of the backhoe, thinking about everything that used to stand between those trees. Didn't sleep that night, couldn't. Instead, I drove to meet Julia Mason, a lawyer who smelled like old paperbacks and printer toner and looked like she chewed on rusty nails for breakfast. She listened to my story, then let out a long, Jesus Christ. Pulled up county records, things got real weird real fast. According to this, she said, you're not the owner. Parcel was sold last month to a Brandon K. Blight, then donated to the HOA as a charitable gift. Blight. That name hit me like a punch. Karen's nephew, it turned out, a part-time law student living at Karen's address. They'd faked a sale, forged a deed, and donated my property so the HOA could bulldoze it before anyone noticed. Julia's jaw went set. That's premeditated fraud, not just a paperwork mistake. We got busy. Demand letter calls to the architect who confirmed some inspector from the HOA took pictures of that summer contractor who did the demolition. We had a signed order from Brandon Blight, seemed legit. Julia's already sketching out conspiracy, fraud, criminal trespass. Then we find a Lakeview Hills newsletter bragging about a generous donation and upcoming park construction right on the ruins of my cabin. And that was just the start. Karen started mailing me fines, $100 a day for visual continuity bills for debris hazard from the house. They flattened notices for abandoned infrastructure. At first I laughed. By the fifth envelope, it wasn't funny anymore. Julia said, keep every scrap. We're building a pattern. Things got uglier. Late one night, my makeshift fence was smashed, spray painted cell in red. Caught the HOA security SUV on my trail cam. Karen's goons not even trying to hide it. Julia filed reports, attached everything to our growing case. Karen ramped it up online, Facebook posts, newsletters calling me the absentee squatter, the dead house guy. They even filed a nuisance complaint with the county, summoned me to a zoning hearing. Karen's goal wasn't justice, it was to bury me in so much bureaucracy I'd give up and leave. But if there's one thing divorce taught me, it's how to be stubborn. I camped in my truck, set up solar lights, trail cams, even bought a drone to patrol at night. They wanted a fight, they were gonna get it. Then came the break. The demolition contractor, Paul Lansing, decided he wasn't going down for this. He turned over emails, job orders, proof that Karen orchestrated everything, false representation, urgent demolition, her personal signature on every page. Then I got an anonymous tip. Paul Drake, a former HOA board member, handed us meeting minutes, internal emails, even the original hand-marked jurisdiction map with coordinate with Brandon to file donation. Keep Paul out. That was motive, method, intent wrapped with a bow. We gave it all to a local reporter. 3 days later, HOA president accused of orchestrating illegal land grab. hit the front page. The HOA's social media exploded. People who cheered Karen on started asking real questions. Board members resigned. Then the sheriff called, "We're opening a criminal investigation." Karen tried to play the victim, called the paper defamatory, threatened to sue. Julia just laughed. That woman's cooked. The final straw, Brandon himself caved, wrote a statement admitting Karen told him to file the fake deed transfer, that it was just paperwork to help the community. We added it to the pile, fast-tracked a hearing, and the county prosecutor joined our case. The courthouse was freezing and smelled like lemon cleaner. My lawyer in a black suit, Karen flanked by attorneys with haircuts that cost more than my pickup. Julia laid out my deed permits, plans, everything solid as bedrock. Karen's lawyer tried the community interest defense. Julia torched it. Then came the witnesses. Paul Lansing confirmed the fake order, Karen's direct emails, $30,000 paid out of HOA funds. Paul Drake walked in like he'd been waiting years to spill, read out Karen's email about finalizing public access if Hunt returns. Gallery gasped. Then Brandon, pale as a ghost, confessed Karen told him to sign he never owned the land. The judge didn't even blink. "Mrs. Blight, you knowingly executed a fraudulent land transfer, directed demolition, and authorized intimidation." That's not a misunderstanding. That's misconduct. The gavel came down, hard, full market value damages, legal fees over $800,000. Karen was referred for criminal prosecution. Her lawyers looked like they'd swallowed nails. Outside, a few Lakeview folks apologized. "We didn't know. We should have asked." I just nodded. "You weren't supposed to." That's how they win. Back at Julia's office, we toasted with cheap champagne. She started getting calls from other homeowners. "You might have started something." She laughed. "I'm rebuilding stone walls this time, reinforced framing cameras everywhere, and a sign at the edge of my land, private property. Not HOA, not yours. Ever." The new cabin stands taller windows, thick as a fortress. The HOA collapsed. Karen got 20 years, no parole. What's left of Lakeview Hills is just some mailboxes and silence. Brandon sent a letter from wherever he's hiding studying law, now says he's taking accountability. Didn't write back, but I didn't toss it either. Last week, a kid from a nearby cabin showed up his uncle's fighting a new HOA over a flag. I handed him Julia's card, grinned. "Tell your uncle not to blink." Because out here, if you don't stand your ground, someone's always waiting to draw new lines around your life. Now let me ask you, when is community just another word for control? Where do you draw the line? Drop your thoughts below. Have you ever tangled with an HOA or watched someone try to erase what's yours? I want to hear your stories, your wins, your losses, because trust me, the fight's never over until you decide it is.